Rohit, you also spoke about the fact that there were these stall claims being made by the US President Donald Trump that he will be ending wars. Do you also think, Rohit, maybe, just maybe, the thing that Donald Trump has been speaking about, statements coming in that he should be given credit? Just a couple of days back, we heard him once again say that he's the one who dialed both India and Pakistan and asked them to back out of the almost nuclear war that was about to happen. Do you think that also is now playing on the minds of the US president? That India is not giving him the credit that he thinks he should be getting for stopping the war between India and Pakistan?
I think everybody in America believes that that could be one of the reasons, and that he is definitely not happy that India has not credited him enough for whatever role America played in its capacity. Was it limited to just having Pakistanis call Indian government to basically ask for a ceasefire, or whatever role I think he believes that he played? So yes, there is that sentiment among a lot of people that that is the reason, one of the reasons why he's sort of not liking India as much as he used to. And the fact that there have been other nations, frankly, who've come to the White House and nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize, which he wants. Even yesterday we saw in the cabinet that there were people around him on that table, not wanting the committee to give him a Nobel Peace Prize, which he wants. And he compares himself, or he has in the past compared his presidency to that of Obama's presidency. And President Obama did get a Nobel Peace Prize in 2009. So yes, that could be one of the reasons. And that's what most people are speculating, that that's where the relationship started going south a little bit. But look, it's President Trump, after all. One meeting, one phone call, anything can change his mind. And I think it would be in the best interest of everybody at this point in time that the war stops, whichever way. If Donald Trump can stop it, or if Zelensky can stop it, if European Union can stop it, and that way, he gets his Nobel Peace Prize, and India doesn't have to suffer the additional 25% tariffs.
But Rohit, if you just look at the numbers, if you just look at what it will do, now if we speak about India, the impact on our GDP would be 0.2 to 0.4%. We are also looking at various other nations. We have been doing dealings with a lot of other nations. So India in that sense is a little secure. But if we speak about the United States of America and how it will impact the US, it is, and that's what data at the moment is pointing to us, the fact things will get costlier for people staying in the United States of America. So this is something that is a fact. If you just look at the apparel also, what India gives, roughly one shirt is costing $10. The same shirt which comes in from Bangladesh, comes in from Vietnam, those are much expensive than what India is giving at the moment.
Exactly. And look, so there are two ways that it will happen, right? First, which President Trump has said that some of these big companies and importers should absorb the cost of tariffs, right? And we do not know if they've agreed in principle to do that or not. But that's one of the things President Trump has said. The other would be, as this is prolonged, eventually there will be people who would start complaining. The public sentiment would be against these additional tariffs, and that is a game that possibly would not favor anybody who would be advocating for additional tariffs, or the amount of tariffs that they've put on India. So I think that's what I think India is betting on, the fact that if this is prolonged, it would start hurting citizens in America, and they would start saying things, and there would be public opinion, and it would be in the best interest of both the nations, as Bill was saying, to resolve this so that we don't suffer, and B, we are able to salvage this relationship. So we'll have to wait and watch. But yes, you're right, Aishwarya. Eventually, this is going to hurt pockets of every common citizen here in America.
Right, Rohit, Bill is back with us. Bill, what do you think will exactly happen from here on? Because now we have these big statements coming in from the United States of America, statements not made by someone who's at number 4 or at number 5, someone who's very, very close to the US president, which means what he's saying, that's the same opinion that US president at the moment has. But this is not a war, that is India's war. That is very, very clear. We also have now taken out a stand. We need to keep India first. That's what the government at the moment is looking at. Do you believe that we could see some softening of stance in coming days from both the countries?
I think it's certainly possible. Again, it's so hard to predict this administration. It really deliberately, to a degree, tries to remain unpredictable, and it's been very successful. in remaining unpredictable. I think that there's a chance that that Prime Minister Modi and President Trump could meet on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in just a few weeks. I think there's a chance that that might not happen. It's very hard to extrapolate, and in as far as this comment from Navarro was unexpected, we could see still more unexpected things in the opposite direction. It's very hard to project. What would be the best thing, I think, would be for the highest levels of the government, of the two governments, to talk directly. That is, President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
But Bill, will that really happen? Because, that's a big question. You are right that there could be phone calls that will take place between US President and the Indian Prime Minister. But will those calls actually help? Because, Bill, what we are seeing today, the relationship, it takes decades to build. And we have seen how, work has happened, administration after administration, to make sure India and United States, they have a certain level of trust. But that trust, Bill, is eroding very quickly, especially with these kind of statements.
Yeah, I think there are costs. There are definitely costs to what's been happening really this whole summer. The tariff stuff has eclipsed a lot of other things, but you also had other things like President Trump admonishing Apple for trying to move manufacturing to India, and the H-1B visa issue, and so on. There are a lot of issues that are blowing up around the same time. But again, I still think, this administration does do massive reversals quite frequently. So it's not impossible. And as I say, it likes to be unexpected. And I hope that we'll see this as a blip, even if it is a longer or more prolonged rough patch. Ultimately, the interests that are driving the US and India together are not changing. So long term, I think we can still be bullish that the two countries will have to, and indeed will want to, even if it looks unlikely at this exact present moment. We need to figure out a way out of this downward spiral we're in at the moment.
We definitely need to make sure that we figure out some way to come out of this limbo that we are in. Rohit, you have been tracking the relationship between India and US very, very closely. Do you think we have reached a break point? Do you think that we have reached a breakup point? Or do you think that there could be something that could be done to salvage this very, very important relationship? Because that's something that the US administration has maintained. It's complicated, but it's a very important relationship, a crucial relationship that US has with India.
Yeah, I don't think we are at a point where, we could say, everything is doomed, right? I mean, yes, we do not have a trade deal. Yes, this is aggressive tariffs, the posturing, everything points towards, a lot of trouble. And frankly, there are some issues at hand. But also the fact that, you also have to look at the other things, like, for example, Marco Rubio, whenever he's talked about India, has said that it's an important relationship. Even when he wished India on Independence Day, he talked about how important this relationship is. The fact that President Trump has nominated one of his closest aides to be the next ambassador to India also tells you, that he wants, all eyes and ears and somebody who he trusts to handle this important relationship. So yes, there's right now as we are talking, it looks like everything is going south. Some of which is true, but at the same time, there are I would say institution and people working for in those institutions, be it the State Department or think tanks or Pentagon and other places where I think the relationship will survive whatever issues we're having right now, and there are people who are willing to preserve that, and that's what we'll see eventually, that things will fall back into place.
Rohit, please stay on with me. Bill, thank you so much for giving us your inputs, your perspective on India-US relationships. At the moment, it's complicated. That's the word coming in.